Hello, everyone. Welcome to Untier Talk. As soon as I do that, what are you doing with your mic? What was that?
My bad. My bad. I was just adjusting my mic.
How dare you? I'll never forgive you. I think you should just
Okay.
forfeit our World Cup match right now.
Oh, don't tempt me, because I will.
Uh, we're gonna talk about the PU tournaments. That's how it's gonna be. We didn't do new tiering or anything. Jinx should definitely be banned, but we're just waiting until the tier shift because yeah,
hmm
like it's just a silly mon. It's just a
Yeah,
it
we'll get
does a
into this
sleep.
later, but we'll get into it later. But I'm sure we'll. Most people who'd have he's keeping up with like World Cup and stuff. They would have seen a lot of Jinx usage, and Jinx definitely looks stupid for that.
Yeah, I should have also put down the power rankings and usage stats for World Cup as well. That would have been good to provide you with, but whatever. I have them. You just don't, and that's okay.
That's
Um,
that is fine.
Before we get to World Cup, we can talk about Smog and Snookdrift, the tournament that's
hmm
almost over, and some people will get a trophy from it. So that's exciting.
Not specs, unfortunately.
Not specs, unfortunately. Yeah, so it's semifinals. There were two different games this week. Neither of the games themselves were that interesting, but we'll get into that. Uh,
hmm
Let me see. I don't actually have these PU games pulled up. Let me search Ziri. Not on this page. There we go.
Let me know which page is on. Such as well.
Yeah, I didn't link the replays thread. I wanted to have the actual thread because.
Oh, Vulpix's games. Oh yeah, that was zero, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, Vulpix would have posted it. Jesus, so unprofessional. I just wanted to have the thread up because I couldn't. I didn't remember like what team just
What
moved
the
on. Yeah, okay.
fuck?
So we had Vulpix versus Ziri, and they both just went for like the matchup fishy stuff, which I totally get. This is like the old meta, and it's a bit of a weird meta, and I guess this is just like both of them wanted to really be looking for stuff. Just the consequences that makes it kind of weird to analyze the game because it doesn't go that much farther than. Despite having sand versus rain, I heavily rate Vulpix's matchup. It's just real nice for him.
Yeah, I think Vulpix has the mechanism, like just null plus the Hippopotas to just nullify the nullify the rain. Sorry, at any
Exactly.
point.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Xeric never really had a shot at keeping the rain up, even though he had the type advantage.
Mm. The problem
Which
is the
sucked for him.
manual. It's the manual setters for rain versus auto setters for sand. It's a huge difference when you
Yeah,
actually have to
100%.
play the other team. And that combined with like your water types without rain aren't great and can't really
Yeah,
abuse Vulpix's team that much. That's the other thing. Like if you could hit Hippo with your water types and then Vulpix didn't have great switch-ins, that's where you want to be. Uh, but without rain up, you're not doing enough to Cramorant or Type Null. And the game came down like mildly close, but I think Vulpix pretty much managed his odds correctly.
yeah,
And like it's closer
yeah,
on paper than it really was. Like Vulpix had this game.
yeah. He played this actually super well. I thought, given that it can be easy to collapse under the offensive pressure of a full rain team, especially when you're using, I don't know, it's like a sand balance. It can be easy to lose, but he did well to not only manage his odds, but never really make a poor play which cost him the game. So
Yeah.
yeah, he did a good job
Yeah,
there.
I think he did fine. I think Ziri played it mostly right too. There's not a lot he could have done. Perhaps like trying to SD with Dreadnought on the Hippo, or even Quillfish instead at some point instead of doing Golduck and Ludicolo. But really, this was like um, the matchup very much dictated how this would go. And I don't think there was a
Mhm.
whole lot Ziri could do since Vulpix wasn't playing it wrong. I still
Yep.
don't know how to feel about sand. This definitely looks like the kind of thing that I just wouldn't expect to be all that crazy when it's not facing rain. I don't know. I'm not a huge believer, but sand is not super explored. That's still just my general like. I don't know.
Yep. Agreed.
And the other game was definitely kind of similar. TJ has a relatively standard team, but it's still it's mm, old
I
meta,
feel like this
and
game is
not just
different
this
because
old
it's
meta,
balanced.
like a meta before that, like the Blimp, Lurantis, Klinklang, Stunfisk. It's a meta before the current Snake meta, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's
think
old. It's odd.
I think the key difference between this game and the first one was it's just that it's two balanced teams. They play very similarly in terms of like what actually happened in the match, but the teams look entirely different because look, you have one balanced team there and one balanced team there, and they just sort of go at each other, and then King wins.
Yeah,
Because
I have to say
I think
I don't like either of these teams. Not a little bit. TJ's I like more than Kinks. It just uh, seems a bit old. Particularly like the fire resists, the cling clang mono ice resist, that kind of stuff is always a little awkward for these kinds of teams, and I'm not sure the offensive pressure is there to back it up. It feels kind of like another one of those teams that's just I hope Lurantis does a lot of work, which has been a fairly reliable strategy in the past. Don't get me wrong. Kink's team I really don't like it. It just doesn't have good resists to anything,
anything.
particularly no
Yeah, I
ice
was about to say.
resist. Like this team shouldn't be taking on much of at all, and its only real major like thing it can do is gee I hope Phalanx just wins, which is not super
Yeah,
reliable in general given the amount of random Corsola and Runerigus in particular. But Kink happened to not have that and got lucky in the game as well. So yeah, I don't rate this win. Like, good for Kink, good for him. Don't get me wrong, but this is not.
he played he played fine given the game. Like given as soon as turn one happened, like he was playing fantastically well. But I think the key thing here is that King's team just looks shit. Like
Yeah,
if he was to play anything that wasn't what TJ brought, it could have feasibly been a hard matchup. And I feel like this is a good game which highlights the reason why we don't go, oh, TJ wins 98% and King wins 2. Some people might have been tempted to say like something like this. You just have to respect the odds of Pokemon sometimes, the variance not only by crits and misses and all that stuff, but also the matchup,
yeah, like
which all
facing
worked in King's favor.
just this bizarre TJ team, and also TJ unfortunately choosing to Earth Power the Phalanx instead of Discharge, risking and triggering Defiant, instantly ending the game. +1 Phalanx doesn't kill the Drift Blim, uh, but +3 does, and that's it. I still probably
Yeah,
would have favored Kink though, even if even if all he got to do was just like hit the Drift Blim and make it practically dead. That's still kind of hard for DJ to come back from. Um,
yep,
if Kink's Runerigus is rest, if it's not rest, I can absolutely see TJ winning. But if that's a rest Runerigus, I still think he'd be in a pretty poor spot with Stunfisk dead, Drifblim almost dead, Silvali's already almost dead. Kink's still got the Unpheasant Jolteon Runerigus in the back. With his issue mostly
yeah.
being his offensive mons are kind of already dead. I don't think it's impossible for TJ by any means. Um, but he's got to play around a lot of pivoting. Like just between Jolteon and Unpheasant, with the Stunfisk dead, you can just kind of be pivoting back and forth.
Yeah,
Certainly not out of it, but tricky.
yeah, 100%.
But it didn't matter because he Earth powered a Phalanx, and you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was like half expecting King to switch out, like probably like 20% in his head. Thought, oh, he's probably gonna. He might go out into Runerigus. I'm gonna click Earth Power, and I'm not gonna get the drop. Am I? Oh, I just got the drop. Oh, I lose. Oh, fuck.
Mm-hmm. I also
That's probably
guess.
what ended up happening.
I also guess it wasn't Aftermath Driftblim because the play might have been to do that into Sucker Lipard.
No, definitely not Aftermath.
but like at that point, you're
It
still
has to
kind
be
of
some.
lost anyway because you also need a defense drop, so it has to kill something else with close combat.
Imagine this scenario. TJ pulls out the endure weakness policy drift blimp and then
Hell
counter
yeah.
sweeps Kink. Straight up counter
Um,
sweep.
no, Leopard with a copycat. Oh no, you endure and you beat copycat. I forgot. That's one of the things about yeah. No, that actually would have just counterswept. That would have been great. I would have really liked to see that because another reason Kink's team is not good. Oh my god, Drift Blim offensive sets. Like you can't beat terrain with this. Lipard can't be your terrain check.
Yeah, he's
Lipard's
got.
good, but it can't do that on its own. Or really like rain and stuff. Your team is Jolteon and Lipard are weird for actually beating. Like they're good at beating fast mons. They're not good at beating like setup mons and stuff. I don't rate Kink's team at all, man. This is just not.
Yeah,
I wish I could. This was just kind of silly. And I mean, it happens.
yeah,
This might have been specifically, I'm going to use this because I think TJ is bringing this. So maybe that was intentional. But yeah, I don't know about this one.
yeah. I think it personally. I think it gave too much away for the cheese matchups.
It's also
That's my main criticism.
it's T Spikes
It's,
Runerigus and Parting Shot Silvally. So you're dying to bulk up throw, iron defense, Runerigus, boost defensive boosting, alchemy, all that stuff. Unless that Runerigus is like T Spikes, um, yeah, unless it's like T Spikes, Iron Defense, Amnesia, Rest, something like that.
sure.
Like, how do you even beat the bulky boosters? Or is it Scope Lens on Pheasant? Is that the plan? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you might as well just go with
like,
was the focus energy? Just go with
yeah,
that. Why not?
exactly. Like, this team shouldn't have worked really. Anyway, um,
Let's move.
with the victory of Vulpix 03 over Zeri that we talked about before, Rattlers beat the Cobras 6-4 in semis and are moving on to finals. On the other side, with Kink beating TJ, the Nagas managed to tie the Lindworms, and it's going to a playoffs. So we don't have finals. We won't have them until next week. It'll be Vulpix 03 versus either TJ or Kink. We'll see. Not much to hit for Snake yet. Ziri is certainly out, so we can do that elegy thing that we do when people are out and we talk about how they did. Uh, Overall, I think Ziri did pretty well, um, and then ended up kind of faltering at the end, finishing at 5-5, which I don't think they really wanted to do. Three of their losses were since week 7. They started out like they started out with a 3-0, and then they kind of petered off from there to an even record, which I think they were just looking for more. This pool ended up being very competitive, very close. Very few people really pulled ahead. Just Obi, Katut, and Kink really. Kink really got lucky to be there. So it's not a bad record for the pool. 5-5 is still like right up there in the top. Uh, I think he was probably looking for more, but solid performance overall.
Yeah,
Specs support as well.
I
Got to
think
shout out Specs.
yeah, I think Specs and Zero will be disappointed overall with the season, especially given how they started. Um, but yeah, I guess the only thing you can say is just not get too much demoralized because we saw some fantastic Pokemon from them at times. It's just that was also countered by some not concerning. I think concerning is the wrong word. Just like weird.
Yeah,
Like
they just.
sometimes you're just like, why do you shouldn't be respecting this guy so much? You know what I mean? Like
I feel like
do
a
your own thing
lot,
and you probably win that game.
and I know this is a mentality Specs has that you can't really play this meta straight up. It's a little too gimmicky, and I think they overrate how gimmicky it is. That's my personal opinion. Because I think like just Ziri being straight up Ziri and not doing rain and stuff just would have gone better because there were definitely weeks where they just got weird and lost.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Ziri still
Yeah.
had like a lot of strong performances. They are really the only star player of Team Asia, Africa, Australia in World Cup. So we'll see how much they can lead their team to a victory there. Oh no,
Ziri
they have
actually,
TKO and ZS, but Ziri is like the standout. I'm not saying everyone else is bad. I'm just saying like
yeah,
whatever.
Ziri is actually he's probably one of my favorite PU players. Just like personality wise and like how he conducts himself. He's
Personality in the
super
game
like
or
standout.
personality? I've never seen the dude like post outside of tour games.
Yeah, I mean like he's not a mean person. That's the thing. Like
Yeah.
and plus like how he plays the game as well. It's quite interesting. He reminds me a lot of FLCL in how he plays. So I mean, if you that's a I guess in my sense like it's a positive reminder of somebody from I guess my past.
Okay. I guess. I don't know. Sure.
Cool.
Um,
I guess.
I believe that. So we can move on to the other thing, Pew World Cup, which had started last week, but we didn't talk about it at all because there was a lot more shit to cover. No, I mean we
Yep.
talked about it a bit at the end. Since then, we've had week one, we've had power rankings come out, we've had usage stats. I think that's all worth going over a bit. We
Yeah.
can.
So are you guys ready for how many matchups do we have?
Oh no, we're not. We're not hitting every game.
We're going
Like,
through every single.
we're
We're
not-
going through every game.
I'm
We're
not
gonna
planning to do
every
any game. My plan was to not do any games this week, and maybe in future weeks I'll grab like my favorite replays and go. Here's the few I
Okay.
specifically want to talk about. But for this week, I didn't grab anything. Just wanted to do more of an overview of the tour.
Okay, sounds good.
There's
I
also
mean,
power
we're gonna go through
rankings.
every replay this week.
Aside from obviously UK being the number one ranked team, are there any like major
actually-
deviations you would have from the? No, I'm saying you would rank it number one. Aside from that, are there any like major deviations you would have in the power rankings? Like
No.
bits you
No,
yeah.
no, the power rankings were pretty much spot on. I would say. I definitely have Canada Northeast as the number one team besides the UK.
Absolutely.
And yeah, they are a sensational looking team. Like they have probably the strongest player in every slot, bar SS4. So like you can't
Eh,
like
I like Specs and Hace but I don't know that they're the strongest ORS and DVP players.
okay, maybe not specs, but Hates Up just for like longevity's sake, like he will win because he knows that tier.
Didn't
better than
Hace
most
only
other
have
players.
like the fourth or fifth best PUBL record? That's all I'm
Yeah, but
thinking of there.
you also have to consider that Hace Up's been around for the longest. Like he's been part of the most.
So
PPLs
therefore
out
he's
of
the
any
best.
player.
No, I'm just saying
Therefore,
like
he is the- he went
last PUPL.
No, let's not talk about last PPL. Let's talk about the PPL where he played for me and won a lot.
Okay. Sure. And I will say GA and Drud were the top DPP players. I definitely remember that, and neither of them are DPPing in this tour, so there's that. Yeah, I definitely agree. Northeast plus Canada is the number one. Europe, I was surprised to see all the way up at number two, and I will actually talk about that when we get to the weeks. UK is great. West is pretty great. France, Brazil plus Latin America. I was a little more surprised. I thought there.
When I saw the week one matchups,
Old gems were weird.
I was actually hugely surprised by how strong Brazil plus Latin America was because I saw that it was Brazil plus Latin America. I thought, oh, this team is a meme team. They just joined, so it's going to be fine. But I looked at the players and I was like, shit, these
They're
guys are
not
good.
bad, but they're I think their slots are a bit more hit and miss. Midwest were like extremely average. Italy, the other thing I was surprised by how low it went. And then you have the teams that like really kind of lose not having like there's a lot of people got together and it's like they're friends in their region. That's great. But they get ranked lower because there's no major tour name standouts or just one. Asia, Africa, Australia, you've just got like Ziri and then some TK on ZS. South,
Yeah.
you've got like some Piff and Raw Melon and Man of Many. That's about it. India has like just Serene Grace in Black White. Germany has like good tour players, but no one from PU. So they kind of ended up in the last. Well, actually, like that didn't exactly pan out like that going into week one.
Yeah.
So we had Latin America versus UK, which aside from Aldo like critting Teddy and winning, went kind of how I expected. Um,
Yeah, I would say I was quite happy with how we ended up playing a lot of the weeks. Pretty much all the games, I was happy with how we played, and the preparation was pretty good as well. So yeah, I was quite happy with how everybody performed.
Mhm.
Dio Fantine, he did incredibly well to uh, maintain his composure after choking like crazy for the first 5 turns. To win his game, which is a really clutch game for us. So yeah, he did well as well.
That was a fun one, and that was the only other game. That was like the main game I thought could have been a flex game. That and DPP, but for the most part, this kind of went how I would have predicted. UK looking strong. I think for you guys, a lot of it's just gonna be like don't have what happened to you in PUPL, and you're gonna be pretty good.
Oh yeah,
You had Northeast beating West. West got smacked a little bit. A lot of strong Northeast wins, but you're starting out versus the number one team. I don't think that's like a huge blow for them. Um,
yeah,
it's two pools of six, and two teams make it out of each pool. Um, so I like it's going to be hard to compete with Northeast. I think West is really more looking to beat up UK, Midwest, India, and Latin America. And like taking a loss to Northeast, that's not so bad. Although maybe they'll
yeah.
just flop. Who
It's
knows?
it's really going to be a question of can a team take games off of Canada plus Northeast and the UK? Like that's the game that's going to be played here.
Yeah, you want to
And
like
if one of ends up,
get all the wins you can versus them for tie breaks and stuff.
yeah, exactly. So whoever can take advantage and beat up on the newbie countries, you can maybe make playoffs.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's probably Canada plus UK.
Yeah, I think both sides had a lot of fun teams in their SS as well. They clearly put a lot of effort into working with this literally brand new meta at the start of the week. Definitely some fun games to watch. Midwest versus India, I'm gonna be completely honest. We just got fucking unlucky. Like it just happens. No ill will towards the India people, like I was saying, but this was just it, we tied 4-4, and there were three games that we just got blatantly screwed over in. Brufasa lost on a crit burn heat wave. Confide had an early Draco Meteor miss, but like it was an early one, and it's Draco Meteor, and that's Mons. But like it does color the game. That's just how it is. I'm not like, oh, that's the worst hacks ever, but that's how it be. And what was the other one? Bag of Tricks lost on Mikov. Again, it was a single early game Stone Edge miss, and I don't think Bag of Tricks played especially well. But like Mikov made a really stupid play and got rewarded by dodging Stone Edge, so that was just kind of dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was again, I'm on Midwest, so that's got to be my perspective. Like I have that colored bias. I think from the outside, just like, oh, that was an interesting series. And there was fun stuff in there. Huge shout outs to Kither for playing like a 230 something turn stall game versus Blimax. Blimax brought stall. Kither brought balance without like any major ways to break stall, and probably shouldn't have won. Blimax actually had a really good stall, but Kither really played it well. PP stalled multiple of Blimax's Mons, and pulled out a really strong win. Very
Yeah.
impressive game if you can sit through that. Compared to me,
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna have to
played
watch
so
that.
bad. I played so bad in my game. You don't want to see that. I
Oh,
brought
fantastic!
I brought Leafy on. It's 6-0'd at preview, and I managed to never set it up or bring it out, and almost potentially be in a bad position if I hadn't won a 50-50. Like it was a
Fantastic
50-50
news.
on when he would Z move or not, and if I got it wrong, then he would have to hit 3 out of 4 blizzards and not get curse bodied with his Scarf Rotom Frost, which is like way closer than it should have been for a game where like Leo was like doing his best, but Leafeon 6-0'd him.
Yeah,
I was very mad at myself.
that's fantastic news for me then.
And
Coming next week.
and Sergio versus Serene Grace had funny Scraggy Dittos, which I only bring up because it was a bit of a theme. Lots of Scraggy Dittos in black white, very popular Mon. But I think Sergio's ended up like Sergio was in the lead and then he crit twice and then it was just over or something like that. Speaking of black white, shoutouts to Evigaro in Canada and Northeast versus West for like dominating in the game and then getting frozen twice and still managing to win.
Yo, Evie does that a lot, by the way. She does that shit ton.
It's
she takes
so
the lead,
much.
gets hacked, and then still wins.
Yeah, it was so stupid. The first Mon got frozen. Okay, second Mon gets frozen. Evie's like fuck no, but then it unthaws and she still wins. But Jesus, that game. Okay, you've got Asia, Africa, Australia versus U.S. South. This I feel like really could have gone either way and would have been a great game, a great set for either team to pick up to start getting some momentum. As definitely teams that just like look kind of weaker in the pool, and it went to South pretty close. Several games that could have gone either way. Don't remember any of them really standing out actually.
Yeah, my thing, I would love for Asia, Africa, Australia to do really well because I like a lot of their players on their team. As I said, like Zeri, PTF, and ZS. In particular, they're my boys. Devin, he was part of our Snake team, so I know him. TKO is cool. I really want them to do well, but they just don't have the bullying. Like Canada can like bully their way to wins most weeks. Like even if they prep zero, they'll still bully their way to wins. You just don't have that on that team, which kind of sucks. But I hope they manage to turn it around after this week.
Yeah, I think if I could throw it out to one game, ZS versus All Star Apology was just a generally strong game from ZS. Strong little SS win. That's all I got to hit, really. I honestly don't remember any of these games standing out in my head. There are other sets where I'm like, oh yeah, that one, but this kind of mostly just flew by.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what was that game? Which one? What was this the Crazy Oras one? Manny versus Maple?
I have
there
no
was
idea.
one.
I don't even recognize Maple, so.
Maple is Dugza. They got a name change. If you recognize Dugza.
Oh, yeah, I know
okay. No, this wasn't the Oras game I was thinking about. It was an interesting one though. Manny brought Scarf Relicanth. I remember that. And Manny actually played this one pretty well. I was impressed with him.
Manny's the most dodgy player in history. He will beat the shit out of ABR in his prime Oras OU days, and then the next game he will just lose versus me when I'm drunk using Mono Rock. Like it's the guy is he is a Cecil.
No.
I hope he can get some consistency going.
It was Specs TSR was the crazy Oras game where TSR brought Gogoat and Arbok and ended up sweeping with Coil Arbok, which just messed Specs' team up.
Yo, that sounds like one of my old teams from Oras.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like a Coil, Gunk, Ice Fang, Earthquake, and just went right through a team of like Vibrava, Clefairy, Seeking, Leafeon, and Mawile. Once the Life Orb Rotom Frost died, it killed 5 Mons in one. Yeah, that was the game I was thinking of. It was fun. You have Italy beating Europe 6-2 very convincingly. 4-0 SS, taking SM and Oras, just losing in their black-white DPP.
Yeah, this isn't Italy in their final form as well. They still have Tricking to come on, and like I think Italy are the dark horse for this entire tournament.
Yeah, I was surprised to put Italy so low because they're known for this cohesion thing, where they all get together and beat people up. Like that's.
Yeah, I think.
Like obviously, a lot of teams always come together. Like India is like a group of people, maybe not mains, who always come together. That kind of stuff. But Italy has done this a lot. Italian players have had a lot of success in PU, so it's less.
Yeah.
I don't know, out of nowhere.
Surprising. Yeah, I think the thing with Italy is that when the people obviously rank the teams, you're looking at it usually on an individual slot by slot basis, and not generally how things walk together. You know what I mean? So like you're just rating the SS and rating the SM, and it's like none of their slots individually are like incredible slots. Like Corkscrew and SM is probably one of the weaker players. Horned, I love him, but he's not a great Oras player. Black White DPP, they're going to struggle in. But the entire thing is like all those players will have teams from PUPL, from like somebody else. Like Galbi will have an inventory, and so will Ryza. They'll all like get pushed up. based on the other's experience. So they're definitely going to outperform their ranking. I'd put money on it.
And don't get me wrong, their real issue is old gens. The fact that Skip Can and Bobby Dagan lost was literally week changing for Europe.
Yeah, 100%.
That was pretty surprising, considering like how
did
much.
Did Horn hacks Rodri, or did he win that legit?
He won legit and like played solid.
Let's go. Good job.
I'm speeding through the game now, but that's my recollection. Some good pivots. Even got full paralyzed at one point. Wasn't a huge deal. Rodri's definitely using an old team that I recognize from PPL and stuff. Yeah, Han just kind of played this right. Had an old funny team with a Krokorok and a Munchlax and a Grumpig, so love to see it. Rodri did say at one point that like he didn't hit a button and then a move happened that he didn't intend or something. I don't know how much that turn would have mattered. He was just confused. I don't think that turn really mattered or anything. But yeah, no, Han just really solided it out. Kind of same for Corkscrew Skipcan, although Skipcan had a pretty weird team. He had a Scarf Grumpig. Don't know how to feel about that one. Yeah, skipping through nothing crazy really happened. Corkscrew almost choked at the end, but no, solid it out. Yeah, and then SS 4 wins. Lopney Kicks had a pretty good win over Tlenet. Galbia over JCBC. Averardo beat Drud. Lots of fun SS stuff, but all going in favor of Italy to take this one. Yeah, I think teams looking to beat Italy should really look to sweep old gens. But when Europe lost 2 of them, that was really killer.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that they managed to get Europe in this case. They managed to convince BKC to play for them. That's quite cool.
That's pretty cool. BKC in DPP PU is pretty interesting, and I liked his debut. I've never seen Fran in DPP, but BKC had some very fun plays. It was a fun little romp.
Yeah, it's super cool to see somebody who's like renowned for being one of the best players on the site play in this small like PU World Cup thing. It's quite cool.
I hope he uploads it. Get some exposure for silly PU old gens with Delibird and Dragonair. And, oh no, that's ADV. Yeah, I mean this game was a bit of a beatdown, but still some fun stuff. And that takes us to the final series, France versus Germany. And again, France, very favored team, has a lot of strong players, and French cohesion is another thing we think about a lot. But Germany kept this relatively close with like a 5-3 in some games that kind of could have gone either way. Zugabu and X-Ray both took decent SS wins, and then 2 DPP players who like don't touch PU went at it, and Germany's won. Struggled in old gens overall, but like Germany didn't look so bad.
Yeah, Germany's SS is going to be the thing that carries them as well, similar to how Italy will function, where they have a really strong SS but a weakish old gens. So yeah, I think Germany probably one of the weaker rosters overall. If I had to put my
it was power ranked
last. They have a cool power ranks wise, yeah, and plus I think France, similar to Italy as well, are going to try and outperform their ranking because French cohesion definitely a thing, and they have a lot of good players in that squad as well. So
they were ranked.
It'll be interesting to see where they rank overall.
Like 5th or so. Yeah, X-Ray had a pretty good win versus Lambovino and SS, if I recall. Like a pretty fun game. Yes, this was an interesting game here. So I think going by the pools, France was only ranked power ranked 5th, but they're still the second highest team in Pool B because Pool B has all of South Asia, Africa, Australia, Italy, and Germany. But I think this very good. This is the really interesting pool to see who makes it out because Europe already
Yeah.
underperformed week one. Italy was ranked lower but performed very well week one. You've got France, um, and then Asia, Africa, Australia, U.S. South, and Germany all being like extremely low-ranked teams. That are like trying to beat expectations to make it in. Very interesting to see what's going on there. And then in Pool A, you have strongest team Northeast Canada. You've got the very strong UK and US West. Um, you've got Brazil and US Midwest as kind of average teams looking to prove themselves, and then like a huge wild card in India, which didn't have many expectations but already pulled out a decent tie week one. Um, going to be a fascinating dynamic because we're going to see some very strong teams eliminated before playoffs. Like you can't have the top four power ranked teams go to playoffs. You can only have two of Midwest, UK, West, Latin America, and Northeast Canada. Like only two of those teams. So it's
Yeah.
going to be a real fucking killer
I
of a
think
pool.
I think the format is pretty much perfect though. I think if you included too many more weeks, it would have just gotten stale super quickly. But in this, when we're essentially speed running a World Cup format, it keeps like the pressure on each game is like really good. So yeah, I love how they formatted it.
Mm, for sure. Yeah, and it's just random pools. It's like it just do be like that. Don't have much to say on week two. There's way too much to do predictions or whatever. But hey, we're
Yeah.
playing. Isn't that crazy?
Oh yeah, the Untier Talk Derby.
Yeah, that hasn't happened since that some seasonal. I think you
Yeah, it
won.
was like the seasonal finals, was it?
It was seasonal finals, and it was like It was back in. It was an SM seasonal finals, right?
Yep,
And
yeah, it was SM.
it went through two whole sets. It was like a game. It was like a 6 game finals, and I think you won.
Yeah, it was a sensational series though.
Yeah,
I remember it being really good Pokemon for a lot of it, so this should be really fun.
yeah. And since then, I've absolutely crossed it out, and you don't even play. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Boy,
it's gonna be fun regardless.
SMPU, what a meta. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do some funny stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, nothing's happened yet except for one India West game where Serene Grace won in black white. Oh, there was also this DPP game. I didn't even see this. Devon versus whoever it was winning for Asia for Australia. Cool. All right. Well, I think that just about covers that stuff. We're gonna do the gimmick corner, but first I have a gimmick corner retraction. I said utility frostmoth sounds cool. Turns out it doesn't get roost. I just assumed it got roost. It doesn't have roost. Frostmoth doesn't have recovery. It's very depressing. I'm super sad about it.
Yo,
But
I built a entire team, like an entire skeleton. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use this Frostmoth set because I had the idea of like stun sporing the Klinklang and stun sporing like a Berserker or something. That sounded like a great idea for a Life Orb Alchemy, which was like it gained a lot of traction this week. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use this set. And I was going through the moves and I was like, wait, does this not get any recovery? And I checked Roost and I was like, okay, it doesn't get Roost. Surely it got recover then. And then it's like, nope, no recover. I was like, fuck, dude, it hasn't got anything. So I was just sat staring at my screen for the next 10 minutes, like, fuck, I just wasted my entire life.
yeah,
Life is meaningless.
I really thought, I really thought it had roost. Um, oops. I didn't build the team, but I'm pretty upset about it too. Oh well. It's
Yeah,
just very give my man roost. What, deserves it. Um,
yeah.
probably should probably have a set for you guys, but I don't really have a set for you guys. I haven't really done much much swish playing in the last week. This raid will probably just not be until the newer tier shift. I guess I'll throw it to Scarf Heatmore, which is something that we brought this week. That's kind of a bit like something that hasn't really been used for a few metas, but it's actually still kind of cool right now. Messes with a lot of Togue. The fact that rockers are more commonly now like Fizdef Sandaconda, that's useful. In general, fire resists are a bit weird and mostly get hit by Giga Drain. Like It's back in being that interesting, funny mid-speed functional breaker thing that kind of works.
Okay.
Cryogonal too, nice cryogonal abuser. What you got?
I have Giga Impact Kangaskhan. Is that something that's cool?
Of course you do.
Yeah, because you kill things. I swear. I swear. You just click the button and things die. So
Man,
and no recoil.
we've had 2 DLC updates, a whole initial 400 decks. Why didn't they give us slacking back? Cowards.
Yo, slacking would have been sick. Imagine this meta with all the bolt and shit.
I love slacking.
Jetpacks and energies.
What you have to slacking's cool. I like slacking a lot. Second favorite normal type out of all Pokemon.
All Pokemon. Yeah.
All Pokemon, second favorite normal type.
Yeah, I've been playing a bit of Pokemon Go recently, so I see it far too much for it to be my favorite. It feels like a hella normie one now.
Wait,
which
slacking?
Is crazy to think about. Cause,
fully evolved
yeah,
slacking just hanging around? UK is fucked, dude. They're insulting you.
Dude, it's crazy. Disrespect, but I mean, it's one of the stronger Pokemons I always see in gyms. So I'm like, oh, this is just boring now. Turn this fun PUmon into a gym.
Well, I don't think there's abilities. I don't think there's abilities in Pokemon Go, right? That's why it's so good.
Yeah. So that's a thing. But my actual thing, it's not really a gimmick per se. Although I will suggest AV Frostmoth because that thing is good. The actual gimmick is Rocky Helmet, Iron Barbs, Togedemaru with spiky shields and Wish and stuff.
Yeah, it's a.
That set is so fun.
It's a pain.
The most fun. You have a Togedemaru, you have a Scuffed Togedemaru. Oh, nice. Yeah, make sure you take 30% chip every time you want to click U-turn or Zing Zap or Iron Head. Yeah, have a good one, lad.
We already had a Snake game or a World Cup game where Togue flinched something 3 times to kill it. I think it was a Sandaconda. We had a lot of Sandaconda Dittos this week. We didn't talk about that. Those are a little silly, but that's kind of just a byproduct of it being good. What can you do? Yeah, it's a silly mon. You got to do a lot of barb stuff as well because Chinchino bust.
Oh, yeah. That thing's running pads now though, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's good that it's forced to run pads to make it that much weaker. That really helps.
It needs to run pads, but
I could see us keeping Chinchino. Like I said in my post, it's kind of thing seems long term unhealthy, but right now it's not killing everything, which is a plus. It's just super common because of how good it is. Oh yeah, I want that 115 speed thing that murders most of the tier.
Yeah, sure, I'll take that too.
Has a million good moves you can run.
AV Frostmoth is good.
Sure, whatever.
Wait, you said that so mean.
Anyway,
take it back.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week with not Snake Finals, but World Cup Week 2 and a brand new tier shift because yikes. Another one. Really doing this to me, huh? Okay, cool. Great, because I'm not busy at all. Just another tier shift. Yep. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Obama.